Now Sadao left the general and went home thinking over the plan. He decided not to tell Hannah anything, as she would not like the idea of assassins in the house. Reaching home, Sadao went into Tom's room and found him getting ready to go into the garden. Sadao told him that he had not been permitted to leave his room, but Tom said that he was not used to waiting for permission. Moreover, he felt pretty good again, but for the muscles on the side of the wound felt stiff. Now Sadao immediately forgot about his concerns and examined the man and advised message. Tom was not bothered about the stiff muscles. He told Sadao that had he not met a Japanese like him, he would not have been alive. Sadao could not speak. He added that were all the Japanese like Sadao, and there would not have been a war. Then the third night, the wind changed to quiet rain. Sadao slept a little better, but he awoke at the sound of a crash and jumped to his feet. Hannah was taken aback and wanted to go and check. The baby woke at her voice and began to cry. But Sadao held her and would not let her move. He was terrified and stood waiting, and there was only silence. Next morning, they found the American alive and fit. He announced that he was well. Sadao decided that he could not go through with the tension another night. Not because he cared for the young man's life, but because it was not worth the strain. Sadao suggested that he would put his boat on the shore at night with food and clothes. Tom would row it to the deserted island not far from the coast and stayed there until he saw a Korean fishing boat. The young man agreed to the plan. As soon as it was dark, Sadao brought the boat down to the shore, put food, bottles of water and 2 quills into it. Tom thanked Sadao for saving his life again. Sadao only said that it was inconvenient to have him with them. He also gave Tom a flashlight and told him to signal with it if he ran out of food. He gave him other instructions also, lest he be caught. Soon the young man was dressed in the Japanese clothes, ready to leave. He shook Sadao's hand warmly and left. That night, Sadao slept peacefully. Now the general had an emergency operation. Sadao had been unable to ask why the assassins had never come. By then the servants returned and Yumi cleaned the guest room thoroughly. The general recouped a week after being operated. Sadao then told the general that the prisoner had escaped. The general was apologetic because in his suffering he only thought of himself and forgot his promise to Sadao. And not because he was not patriotic. And Sadao realized that his secret was perfectly safe with the general. He said he could vouch for the general's loyalty. Now that night Sadao saw no flash of light in the darkness in the sea. He felt it was truly his reward. His prisoner had gone. Sadao was sure he was safe. He recalled all the Americans that he had known in the past, the professor at whose house he had met Hannah, his old teacher of anatomy, and his fat and voluble landlady. He also remembered that he had found it difficult to find a place to live in America because he was Japanese. The Americans were full of prejudice. He, as a Japanese, knew that he was superior to the Americans. He had hated the ignorant and dirty old woman who had agreed to rent him a room in a miserable home. He found it difficult even to be grateful to her. But she had taken care of him when he was sick. He had found her disgusting, but then he thought all white people were disgusting. He was happy to return to Japan. Then he recalled the young, tired face of his prisoner and wondered why he could not kill him. But as a human being and a doctor, he had saved a life. Though he hated the white, repulsive face of the American, but still he could not kill him.